From MinTech, the Micro Nano Technology Education Center, this is Talking Technicians, the podcast about technicians, who they are, what they do, and where they come from. I'm your host, Peter Kazarnoff. I teach technicians and engineers at Portland Community College. In each episode, you'll meet a working technician and hear their story. That means real interviews with real technicians about real jobs. At the end of each episode, you'll hear actions you can take if you want to be a technician too. In this episode, I'm talking with Ashley. Ashley is an RDA process technician at Micron in Manassas, Virginia. Ashley, welcome to Talking Technicians.
Hi, thanks, Peter. I'm happy to be here.
Ashley, I'm so glad that you're here and going to talk with me today about both your work at Micron and also some of your educational experiences along the way. So you work at Micron in Manassas, Virginia. Did you grow up in Manassas?
Yeah, I've been raised and born here since obviously forever, and yeah, sorry.
So you got to stay close to home, both for going to school and for work. So let's talk a little bit about where you work. You work at Micron, and Micron is one of the semiconductor fabs. Can you describe to me what your job title is? What's an RDA process technician?
So an RDA process technician is someone that goes through wafers, which is what we have at work, and we check if they have any imperfections and stuff that will make the chips fail on our customers. So my job is to go thoroughly through them and check that everything is right, and then uh make cases in case something is wrong to tell another area to fix their tool and stuff like that. And we're like basically like the police of that our area because we're just watching that everything is going correct in a correct way, I guess.
Right, and you want to make sure that all of those wafers are high quality, and eventually, like through that whole process, all of those wafers will become memory or become other types of chips. So, Ashley, as a technician, you might do something like at the beginning of your shift, and the middle, and the end of your shift. How would you describe like a typical day at work?
So I work night shifts. At first, it was really hard to get used to working that shift, but as I got like through the days and through the weeks, it got a little easier. So I come in at 6 p.m., get started with my computer. I start all my applications that I need to work for the night. And our site has uh, a gym on site. Our TMC has a gym. So that's what I do for my breaks. I just make sure that I'm still active because sitting 12 hours a day is a little hard on your body. So that's our typical day. We just work, talk to other people, and just make sure that I'm still active constantly throughout the day.
So even though you're doing those night shifts, like you're still active, you still go to the gym. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I try to not be active since in my regular life before night shift, I was always like trying to stay active and fit because I feel like that's a really important part of like who I am. But even though I chose to be night shift, I decided to be able to also incorporate that into my nightlife.
So, Ashley, I've got a good idea that you're working the night shift and like when that shift starts and ends. Throughout the week, what kind of schedule do you have?
So I work Wednesdays through Saturdays. That's our long weeks, and then we have short weeks, which is Wednesday to through Fridays. And it's 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., which I feel like is a really good schedule for me. Like I have 3 days to do my own stuff, and then throughout my work week, I can comfortably like do what I want in the mornings when I wake up a little earlier. So I feel like my shift is good for me as a student.
Ashley, let's talk a little bit about things like benefits and compensation. You work for Micron, which is part of the semiconductor industry. What might a beginning technician expect to make? How much money could they earn going into the semiconductor industry?
They can earn like $20, $25 and up according to the area and the position you're in currently, which is like really good. Pretty young, so I feel like the amount of compensation I get for the age that I have, it's pretty like a big thing for me, like a big deal. So I feel like even with like our starting pay, that's like insane for my age, is what I'm trying to say.
And Ashley, you mentioned that maybe starting around $20 an hour, but are there differentials or like can you make a little bit more money depending on things like the shift that you work or how many hours in the week, things like that?
Yes. So for my night shift, depending for the night that you work, like let's say Wednesday, Fridays, and Thursdays, you get like I want to say like a 5% differential or maybe like a 6% differential. But on Saturdays, since it's weekends, we get a lot more differentials. So that's the good side of working night shift, if I personally say.
Right, right. So you've sort of got that starting wage, but then based upon which shift you're working in, you could potentially be making more per hour than just that starting wage.
Yeah.
Beside, besides like hourly wage, Ashley, are there other benefits included with your work? Things like healthcare or retirement, things like that?
Yes, our benefits are actually really amazing. Like our healthcare is fantastic. I myself wear glasses and I get like free visits with my BSP and like our we get our free glasses and stuff. And even if you're like in a field that's not like a technician, like maybe if you're like shift operations, you get free glasses so you can work safely at your job. And for other stuff like retirement and 401k, they're pretty really good, especially if you have like a high percentage. They're amazing.
So, Ashley, we've talked about wage and we've talked about benefits. What about professional opportunities? Are there ways for you to advance at Micron, areas for professional growth?
Yes, there are many ways for you to advance a Micron, especially like you don't really have to stay in the area that you started. I've seen people move in different areas or people move to different countries to still work with Micron in different areas. And you can pursue whatever you want if you have like, I guess, like the want to have it.
Right. So if you're interested in working in another field or another area in the U.S. or another country, you can go out and do that. And are there other types of levels for the technicians as well?
Yeah, so we have T1 to T4, and I'm currently T1 since I just got hired in. But there's people that are T4, like T2 have like better, I guess better payment, but they're also like much more adequate for the job, if I may say. Like currently I work with a T2, like he's still training me because I don't understand a few things at all sometimes, but he's like very cool. Like he's so amazing, even though he's just like he's not even there for much longer than I am, but he's a T2. He's grown so fast throughout the years, and I look up to him actually. So imagine how I feel about like T3s or T4s. Like they're insanely smart and capable of a lot of things, and that's just so inspiring to me.
Right. And maybe someday you'll advance to a T2, T3, T4, and then you'll be a mentor for someone else.
Yeah, that's the goal so far, to be a T2 right now.
Hmm.
But I'm still very excited to keep growing and learning.
Ashley, what did it feel like your first day at work? What did it feel like going into Micron for the first time?
From my internship at first, since I got an internship, I was very nervous because I've been working just retail jobs throughout my life, throughout high school, throughout college. And retail jobs aren't they're very I guess they're very silly because like the times that they give you and then all the people that you meet, it's like very different from working on Micron when everyone's so respectful and so caring, and the times that they give you, like your shifts, they're like they're like set times, and it was such a I want to say like a shock to me because I remember my first day they were like, yeah, you need to be here from 8 p.m. to 4 p.m. and this is your manager, and it was just so respectful, and I was like, oh my God, I've never received this in my other jobs. This is crazy. So that's how it felt. Like I was just beaming with happiness because it was such a crazy environment change.
So, Ashley, you've mentioned that you had an internship at Micron. So, let's kind of switch directions and talk about how you got to where you were now. You mentioned that you went to high school in Manassas, Virginia. What did you do after high school?
So after high school, I wasn't very sure what I wanted to do since I have so many qualities that I wanted to pursue. Like I was just very scared to pursue anything. Um, so I went to community college because I wanted to save up a little money and go through a 4-year school college right away. So at my community college, I met people and I started liking a lot of tech stuff, especially since I have a cousin that worked in IT and he graduated from IT. So I started like dipping into that type of pool. And I chose to major in cybersecurity. And after my first year of majoring in cybersecurity and I enjoyed it, I started looking for opportunities to internship at places. And I saw Micron, and throughout my high school life, Micron had always come to my high school to talk about opportunities and stuff. So I was like, let me give it a try. Hopefully, I get picked. And I got picked, and it was probably the best decision I've ever made.
And Ashley, so your second year at community college, you were working your internship at Micron. Did you continue working on a cybersecurity degree, or did you start working on something else at that point?
So I continue working on cybersecurity, but I also took like other classes with like tech specialties, but I did have other classes like that since when I was still internshipping at Micron, like other people started talking about electrical engineering and all this stuff. And so I took small classes based on those majors and I enjoyed it thoroughly. But since I was already into cybersecurity, I was like, I'll just stay with this.
And how do you feel like going to community college that helped you prepare for your work at Micron? What kind of things did you learn at community college that you feel like now you use in your job?
So I learned how to communicate well with peers. That was my number one concern. When I was in high school, I wasn't really big on communicating since we didn't really have like group projects. But in college, you were forced to have group projects, and it was really hard on me. But I had to learn how to communicate with other people and just basically have a well vocabulary with just communicating with other people. And that really was helpful in my internship because I did not know how to speak up when I wanted help or when I wanted to learn something. And I just thought that there was nothing I could lose. So I had to speak up and ask for this and that. And it really worked and it really helped.
So, Ashley, you mentioned that you had an internship at Micron. How did that internship prepare you for your role as a technician? What sorts of things did you do during your internship?
So for my internship, I wasn't hired in the area that I'm hired in right now. And so I was hired in shift operations, which is like the back end, not the back end, like the other side of what I'm doing. So Like they look at tools, they look at how the tool is working and stuff like that. So I went more into like the hands-on thing part of Micron. And that was really helpful to me because now when I'm at work and I'm like learning what happened and what caused this, I'm like, ah, I know what caused this, or ah, I know what like area is in trouble right now. So it's like it was really helpful because if I didn't know any of that, then I wouldn't have understand my current job as much as I do now.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, Ashley, do you feel like that your internship at Micron that was really crucial for you to ultimately secure your job as a technician?
Yes, because other than just learning how Micron works in general, talking to people in different areas because throughout my internship, they wouldn't just keep you in a certain area. They will like put you in cam, they will put you in electrical, they will put you in the fab, they put you in different areas. So you had to talk to different people and you see different faces every day, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, and Micron is also a big company, so trying to figure out like what is the culture like, and who do you go for help, and where can you ask questions, things like that. It isn't always immediately obvious, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then that's the other part about Micron. There's a lot of people with a lot of cultural differences among us, and I love that. Every week or every other day, we have like groups that bring in food, that bring in like their own music, and like we just I enjoy that a lot. Like I've learned so much about my peers, and I like how I'm being put out there rather than how I was in high school, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And that sounds really fun too, getting to like experience these other cultures and getting to know your coworkers a whole lot better.
That's like one of the best parts of working there. And throughout my internship, I feel like that also helped a lot with my personal growth since I had to like be exposed to all these different people and their way of thinking and the way of working. And I like picked up a lot of things from them. Like I stole a lot of like their own DIYs or their own stuff like that. Like things that I didn't think of doing they would do. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so smart. So I'm really glad that my internship like put me out there.
Ashley, what's something unexpected about working as a technician that you only learned after you started? What was something that sort of surprised you when you started work?
I guess the amount of knowledge that you're gonna have to retain, because um, the way that my job works is that you have to know all this websites, all this um defects, and you have to memorize them in order to work comfortably in a comfortably pace, I mean, with all your other coworkers. And while I was learning, it was just a lot of information shoved into my head, and I had to like manage it quick. And honestly, I love the fast pace because it makes me work like it puts me in a trance when I'm working, and that's really good for me. Like that's how I enjoy working. But just the amount of information that I had to retain was crazy enough for me. And even now today, like I ask my coworkers like, hey, like what is this? Or what is this? What is like the website for this? Or where do I go with this? And they just laugh it off because they're like, oh, we told you this, we told you this already, but it's just so hard to retain that. That was crazy for me.
Right, right. Just because there's so much terminology to learn, so many different processes you have to be familiar with, so many different systems you interact with. So, Ashley, how did your life change when you became a technician? What was different once you started work compared to when you were a student?
I guess the biggest hit of my life was just the schedule. You know, I used to be a morning person before. Like I used to just wake up really early, go to the gym, you know. But when I'm like at my night schedule, I it changed very, very bad. Like the first few weeks, it was like I couldn't really stay awake. So I had to live off my energy drinks. But after like a week or two, you just learn to live with it and you actually like enjoy it now. Like I enjoy my breaks so much right now because I just hit the gym. I stay quiet, hit the gym. But when I was also a student, I had I guess I had less time to go out and it's enjoy my life. But with my schedule currently, it's like I know the days that I'm gonna be off. I know the days that I could be off if I ever wanted to. So it's like it's very calming for me to just know all these things right away instead of when I was a student that I didn't know if this was gonna happen or if this is not gonna happen or if my retail job was gonna schedule me for a day that I couldn't work and stuff like that. So that's a really good part of it.
Right. So having some certainty about that scheduling, and also partly like being in control of some of that scheduling too, which days you can take off, things like that. So, Ashley, so to finish up for today, what advice would you give current students or people who want to transition their career and work in your industry? Like, what would you tell students who are at community college right now about the Micron internship program or about becoming a technician?
So my advice would be to not be scared and try new things. Because if I was scared to try new things, I would have never gotten this internship and I would have never changed my life into a better place that I am at right now. And to not be afraid to like talk to people or to experience more things, to travel places, because if people are not near a place they want to work with, they can always just travel there. And it's so good to be able to communicate to different people at all times. 'Cause you just learn a lot, and that's great. I feel like that's great as growing as a person to just try new things.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for being on Talking Technicians and sharing your story with me today.
Thank you
Please keep in touch.
so much.
Talking Technicians is produced by MinTech, the Micro Nano Technology Education Center, through financial support from the National Science Foundation's Advanced Technological Education Grant Program. Opinions expressed on this podcast do not necessarily represent those of the National Science Foundation. Join the conversation. If you are a working technician or know someone who is, reach out to us at info@talkingtechnicians.org. We're always looking out for great guests to share more stories with you.